I grew up Mormon, and I think that my experience in Mormonism is a little more unique than others. The pressure wasn't as bad, I think, as a lot of Mormon families. My family was a little more chill in that respect. It wasn't so hardline. There were obviously some things that were a little more strict, but in terms of this generalization of Mormonism being super strict, I didn't experience that 100%, but it was obviously there. I think that if you're in the church at any point or to any level, there is that sense of very strict, rigorous stuff. Like you're in a cult, you're going to experience all the negative aspects of the cult, which it very much is a cult. It's just really good to be out. It's really refreshing. It's really hard to get out because it's obvious it's brainwashing, and deprogramming from that brainwashing is incredibly difficult. And to rip yourself away from a belief system and a life that made up your entire identity at one point is terrible. The church is really good at making sure that it becomes a big part of your identity so that it's harder and harder to leave, because the more people that they have, the more money that they make, and at the end of the day, it's all about making money. They don't really care about individuals. They care about the dollar sign next to them, and they like to claim that it's all about family. Truthfully, the fact of the matter is family doesn't come first. The church comes first, because if you do any kind of research, if you ask the wrong questions, the belief system has been set up in a way that if your family is truly ingrained in the church, they will demonize you. They will try to make sure that the questions you are asking don't go answered, and they completely ignore them. They want you to ignore those questions. They want you to ignore any ambiguity in the doctrine or any inconsistencies in the doctrine so that you will stay. The system is set up in a way that ensures your family will put the church first. It's so manipulative. It's so disgusting. They inevitably use your family against you. I think the saddest part is when people have found out that the church is bullshit, is absolute nonsense, and then they stay in it because their family and their community is still there. And that comes right back around to what I was saying, where it's hard to rip yourself from it. Your identity, your family, everything is ingrained in this church, and what can you do? I think some of the bravest people in this world are the people who rip themselves away from situations like that, who pull themselves out and say, you know what, I know this isn't true. I know this is bullshit. I know we're being lied to. And in spite of all of the backlash they get from their family, from their community, they stay away and they leave, and they find a community that better fits who they are, and that better fits their understanding of morality. And that's just kind of the biggest issue with religion. They have this monopoly on morality. I mean, if your doctrine is coming directly from God, why wouldn't it be the most moral thing in the world? The way they manipulate people, the way that they rip people from families, and they ensure that your family stays in, even if you're leaving. They make sure your family stays, and a lot of the time the family goes no contact, or the individual leaving goes no contact, because they have not only become the individual's identity, but the family's identity. The church becomes the identity, the one identity that you can have. And when you try to leave that, they are going to try to take everything from you. They ensure that everything that you love, everybody you're close to, is ripped away. They would rather see you completely alone without anything than to bring anyone from your family with you on your journey out of it. It's absolutely sad, because a lot of this stuff could just be debunked by a simple Google search. I mean, Joseph Smith was a felon. There are court documents you can just look up and find he was infringing on our First Amendment rights. Obviously, the church tries to keep that under wraps, because if you learn that the founder of your religion, your belief system, was a criminal, then, you may be a little more inclined not to believe some of the bullshit. So they keep that all from you, and at the end of the day, I'm just glad to be out. I have no ill will towards anybody in the church. I hate the church itself, and I know that a lot of Mormons will take that as a shot. The church is so ingrained in their identity that any criticism of the church feels like a criticism of themselves. It just comes back to how ingrained into their identity church gets. There are evil people in the church. There are evil people, or there are good people in the church. Being a member of the LDS Church has no merit on whether or not you're a good person, just like anything else. Side note, I do think that being a part of a church that says you're a part of the one true church, you might be more susceptible to like kind of a God complex or some narcissism. But that's besides the point. It's frustrating to see friends and family who are still stuck in the bullshit, but it is what it is. I'm out, and that's all I care about. I'm much healthier and I'm much better mentally. I'm in a much better mental space. It took a long time to deprogram from that, but I think I'll leave the last bit up to Daniel Tosh. I think he summarizes the Mormon church pretty well.
Heads up, Mormons, this joke's gonna sting. Next time a golden plate falls from the heavens, go ahead and put it in your spam file. Let's not base your entire life on a religion that's old enough for my dad to be like, oh yeah, that's not true. That didn't happen.